Greetings, students. Today I want to talk to you about something with which many of you may already be familiar. Emojis. When I was out walking the commons, I noticed something peculiar about the young people. They were all staring at their telephones. When I inquired as to why they might possibly be doing this, I was shown a long scroll containing words and sigils. These sigils caught my eye. Why scatter these symbols throughout their communications?
We use emojis all the time when we text.
To express something that can't really be expressed through a word, I guess. They're fun.
Realizing that the students were completely enthralled to these symbols, with literally no clue why they were using them, I realized I must do some research on my own. The organization behind the proliferation of emojis is called Unicode. This organization approves successive waves of emojis to be released to various platforms. Very good, I thought. But who is Unicode? Their website is very open with this information. Unicode is a consortium of firms that have stakes in the technology industry. There are various tiers of membership, but the top rank is reserved for those major firms with a keen interest in controlling emoji content. Facebook, Google, and the Sultanate of Oman's Religious Affairs Division. This last firm caught my eye. Why would the Sultanate of Oman care about emojis? The King James Bible, 1 Kings chapter 10, verses 1 through 14, describe a deal struck between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. And when the Queen of Sheba heard the fame of Solomon concerning the name of the Lord, she came to him with hard questions. And Solomon told her all her questions. There was not anything hid from the king which he told her not. This riddling test is very peculiar. The queen has some secret knowledge which she wants to determine if King Solomon has as well, and the result sounds as though he proves to have even greater knowledge than she does. But knowledge concerning what? There is a grimoire that was published around 1650 entitled The Lesser Key of Solomon. The book claims to have been written by King Solomon himself, and the first section, the Ars Goetia, contains instructions for summoning 72 demons. These include magical seals necessary for uttering the demon's name and bringing it to the sorcerer's presence. The physical crafting of these seals is said to be one of the highest magical arts. Verse 10, And she gave the king 120 talents of gold, and of spices very great store, and precious stones. And King Solomon gave unto the Queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which Solomon gave her of his royal bounty. After the riddling contest, she pays King Solomon quite a hefty sum, and what he gives her in return is shrouded in mystery. Whatsoever she asked, what are we to do with this? Verse 14. Now the weight in gold that came to Solomon in 1 year was 666 talents of gold. Yes, that's right, 666. What is the author trying to tell us here? Is it possible that what King Solomon traded to the Queen of Sheba for 666 talents of gold were a full set of original demonic seals? Let's fast forward to the 20th century. An American archaeologist in his late 20s named Wendell Phillips began an expedition in 1955 to unearth the holdings of the Queen of Sheba. These included diverse archaeological sites in Yemen and, you may have guessed this one already, Oman. The local superstitious tribesmen tried to expel the intruder, eventually going so far as to raid his camp and abduct hostages. But something eventually caused them to reverse course on him. Ultimately, Phillips became the second Westerner ever to become a tribal sheik. Could it be that Phillips uncovered the original seal given to the Queen of Sheba? This would certainly explain what followed after. Just as we have no clear record in our sources of what Solomon gave to the Queen of Sheba, so we do not know what Phillips gave to the Sultan of Oman, but we do know how Phillips was compensated. According to his New York Times obituary, soon after Philip's unearthing of the Queen of Sheba's palace, he was granted enormous concessions by the Omani government, enough to make him the world's largest individual holder of oil concessions at the time. So, what does all of this have to do with emojis? Consider this. Unicode 8 was released the same year the Omani government joined the Unicode Consortium. It is this version known as the Occult Edition of Unicode, in which the zodiacal signs were implemented. Moreover, in Unicode 8, there are 72 face core emojis. 72. The same number as the number of demonic powers in the Ars Goetia. One side note here, the actual version of the emojis published by the Unicode is this sigilistic black and white version, which is much closer to the original seals than the cartoonized, fully rendered versions available on devices. And so, what is the occult content of Unicode 8? My belief is that the Omani government's Religious Affairs Division created correspondences between, on the one hand, each of the Goetic seals in their possession from Phillips, and on the other hand, the 72 emojis which had been developed partially under their own influence. And so, by comparing the Goetic seals to the emojis, one can see where the Omani government had their influence and what the correspondences actually are. Dizzy face is Marbus. Face with look of triumph is Baal. Nerd face is Malthus, so on and so forth. This sequence of 72 emojis is followed by a coda signifying the end of a magical sequence, 3 symbols of death, 2 symbols of alienation, and 1 symbol of a soulless automaton. The meaning of this 3-2-1 sequence is that the occult communication ends there. This is reinforced in 2 ways. First, the countdown of 3, 2, 1 is a sequence indicating completion and winding down. Second is the sequence of death, alienation, automatation. This is literally an illustration of a spirit leaving a body, but here represents the spiritual content leaving the corpus of the text. The text, of course, being Unicode 8. What is most unnerving here is the degree to which all of this was done in plain sight. Now we've got them by their noses. The world is an open text for us to read. We have identified the major processes of this conspiracy. But what I want to know is, what have they been doing with this power? And how has it been affecting us? I will be covering this information in my next video. I would like to thank the Canarsie Board of Community Standards for their help in researching this topic, as well as all of my colleagues at Miskatonic University. Until next time, may the Pyramid's Eye watch over us all.